Welcome to the Breathe Podcast. Here, we desire to help you access what's needed to live a healthy life in a world where one size doesn't fit all. Take a moment and join us in a conversation that can alter the way you live your life by changing the way you think so you can better your health.
Hello and welcome to the Breathe Podcast, an outreach whose purpose is to support the whole person, the social, emotional, physical, mental, and most importantly, the spiritual you. We are here to influence positive change in our lives and the lives of our listeners. I am your host, Angela Davis Robertson, licensed professional counselor, and my co-host, Pastor Dale Flowers, is out today, but we have someone else sitting in his spot. Miss you, Pastor Dale.
Filling in for Pastor Dale is Courtney Altman, and I'm the health literacy coach that spoke before you started hearing Miss Angela, but I'm here today.
Welcome, Courtney. Today we're discussing building resilient families after going through domestic violence. But before we delve deeper into our topic, I'd like our guests to introduce themselves and give us a little background history of what you're currently up to.
My name is Veronica Pryor-Faciane, and I am a 28-year thriver of incestuous abuse. And for those that may not know what that is when I was hurt by a family member, which was my birth father. Currently, I work with the East Baton Rouge Parish School System as one of their social-emotional learning specialists. I am in school to become a therapist, which I will be finishing in January. I am an accomplished author of God's Diamond in the Rough, which told the first part of my story. And also, I am a mother and a wife, and I'm also someone who loves helping others grow through their trauma.
Thank you for being here, Veronica.
Thank you.
And we have...
Hello, my name is Sandra Halley. I am a survivor of domestic violence for 14 years. I'm a mother of 3 children who have went through the struggle. I am a cosmetologist. I am a commissary aide at the zoo, which is a chef for the animals. And I just became a stylist for the photo shoots for John Casablanca, which I am currently in, model and talent management.
Wow.
Awesome.
Yeah, so I'm just trying to help people out here.
I love it.
It is real domestic violence.
Yeah, we're gonna talk. I am so glad you all are here to tell your story. I know there are people who need to hear what you have to say. We want to really talk about what is it? What is domestic violence? And it's, it is the willful intimidation, the physical assault, battery, sexual assault, and other abusive behavior as part of a systematic pattern of power and control penetrated by one intimate partner against another. It includes physical violence, sexual violence, threats, and emotional abuse. The frequency and severity of domestic violence can vary dramatically. How prevalent, I want to talk about how prevalent it is here in Louisiana, because according to the Southeast Advocate for Family Empowerment, over 5,000 adult women per year living in Louisiana will experience domestic violence. Did you know 1 in 3 women and 1 in 4 men in the United States have experienced some form of physical violence by an intimate partner? How did domestic violence indirectly, I'm going to say directly, actually impact you ladies? Either one, you can talk. How did it directly impact you? Miss Karen or either Veronica, you said it was ancestral, right? Mm-hmm. So let's talk about how did it impact you?
It impacted me severely.
Okay.
It impacted me severely because for the longest, at one time I tried to take my life. Mm-hmm. I felt it must have been something that I had done, even though it started at the age of 5. It impacted my current relationship for a long time. It impacted my children. It impacted my working relationship. It impacted every part of my life. It impacted my health. My walk with God was questioned by me, because how could he allow this to happen to me?
Can you talk about when you say ancestral At what age did this?
It began at the age of 5, as far as I can
wow.
remember. And it lasts up until the night before my wedding, which is in 2004. Wow. So that was over 28 years of my life.
So you did really lose a sense of your self-worth, causing a strain on other relationships that you had. Your marriage, was that your first relationship with another man, as far as not intimacy, but a boy? Had you had boyfriends along the way?
That was kind of challenging because he would always disrupt that. It wasn't worth it.
Okay.
It really wasn't worth it. Not for my peace, because when I thought trying to have outside relationships would run him away from touching me, it only made it worse, and the abuse got worse.
At 5 years old, what exactly do you remember? What do you recall? And you say it was. Did you say who it was?
My birth father.
Your birth father,
who was a minister. He say he still is a minister, incarcerated, but he said he's still a minister.
Okay. What type of questions? I mean, as a 5-year-old, what kind of thought process are you having at this point? Do you remember any of that?
At that point, I just wanted to protect my little sister who was just born, and so he used that against me because I never wanted to be by myself. And so with the birth of my sister, he was like, "You don't want me to touch her, do you? I'm 5."
So he would use that to...
He used that, and also he was like, "You don't want me to hurt your mom. Do you want me to leave your mom?" So he used that against me.
Okay, so this is a pastor. This is my dad. How does this even get started?
Well, for me, now after pressing charges, I found out that it was through him being touched as well when he was younger. And so I found out from my uncle, but he was touched by a male cousin.
Okay, your dad was.
My father was. Now, till this day, he still does not really acknowledge that. He said in the last, like when we had our last parole hearing, he said that's what they said happened to me. So he went through a lot of trauma growing up. And because of that, and then hearing other family members' stories as well, it's a history.
Do you say he doesn't? He said that's what they said. Do you feel that there's a disassociation? Okay, I know you're in counseling, so now I want to know, do you feel that there is a true disassociation? Because he really believed that did not happen.
Yes, he done told him that narrative so long to that's his truth.
That's his truth. Not that he's disassociated with it. It's just a lie that he believes now, not a disassociation.
I really believe he knows.
Okay.
I don't believe he's disassociated. I know he's very controlling. He's very angry at the things, because I used to watch him cry on the side of the tub and say, why my mom allowed this to happen to me. So to say he's disassociated, he wouldn't be saying, why my mom allowed this to happen to me.
I got a question. It's how do you cope with that as a 5-year-old? Like, how are you able to still get up
and go
every day?
And do?
My little sister.
It was your little sister.
Motivation.
That was my why. My little sister was my why.
And your mom, did she
knew,
have any indication?
She knew, but he was beating on her because when my sister made 5, that's when she came to me. I remember because I was going on 10, and she said, Ronnie, I need to talk to you. And when she told me that, I was heartbroken.
So he had violated her as well.
He had started touching her as well.
Okay. Ooh, you talked about this emotional strain, the emotional and spiritual effects. Can you talk about more of the emotional effects that you had?
Well, for me, it caused a lot of challenges. I developed bipolar depression. I deal with mania a lot, depending on what triggers I have, especially since we just went to court for this parole hearing on the 13th. I deal with PTSD. I have ADHD, but I think everybody has ADHD. Of course, and a lot of anxiety and stress that I deal with at that time. Now I'm able to maneuver a lot better through that part of my life's journey.
Spiritually, let's talk about that.
I was angry as Babwa because on February the 16th, 2002, I'm supposed to be dead. February the 16th, 2002.
Okay.
I know I'm supposed to be dead. I ain't had no thought in my mind. I knew what I took. I'm supposed to be dead. But God wouldn't allow me to die, and I was angry.
That he wouldn't allow you
I
to
was
die.
a mad black woman. I was mad because it just didn't make sense. I didn't ask for this life. I didn't ask for these things.
Yeah.
But yet you won't allow me to die.
How did you come to closure with that?
Once the coroner said, I don't know what you're supposed to be doing, but I need you to get to doing it. Because based on your toxicology report, you're not supposed to be alive. And I'm like, okay, you won't let me die. You won't let me do this. What am I supposed to be doing? And it's been a process. My healing journey has been a process. And after me going through that type of trauma, or should I say growing through that, I knew that my mission was to help others grow through their trauma.
And that's exactly what you're doing, my friend. I love it. Your story is heartbreaking, but I know you, the person that I met, is so encouraging and so inspirational. And that's what I love about you. It's like, I heard the story, well, parts of it, I'm hearing all of it now, but parts of it much later after I actually met you. Miss Karen, we really want to hear from you. Tell us a little bit of your story, where it started. Veronica started at 5 years old. Veronica, you are now an adult, married with children one is graduating from high school. So we have some years here. So Karen, tell us a little bit about your story. Well, I was wondering why you were looking at me like, what's wrong with her? Well, I'm calling her Karen. We have a Karen here.
We have a Karen moment.
It's Sandra. She's like, okay.
I just let you go ahead on.
But you didn't answer, so you didn't let me go.
Yeah, I would know Karen.
I'm to my sister.
Oh Lord. Okay.
Directly, where did yours start, and how did it impact you?
Oh Lord. It started in 2004. Probably 2003. The ending of 2003. My son had made it started when I met him. I had wrecked my car, and I was trying every way possible to get my car fixed. And the doors was gonna cost more than the whole car. And I could have just got another car instead of just getting the doors fixed. So I donated the car to the Salvation Army, and he came and did the notary work. So that's how I ended up meeting him.
Okay.
And he seemed like, like he had his stuff together, was retired and, all that stuff. And I say, well, let me give it a try, I guess. Even though he was 15 years older than me, that was like something that was not like, I should hear about the older ladies talk about a man that's older. How they controlling and stuff like that. Well, I did find that out later. I should have listened to it.
How much later did you find out that this person was controlling?
Within some months.
Okay.
But the way he did it was slick, though. It was very slick. Whatever I told him, he would flip it. He would make it seem like they are the bad people, not him. Like he's trying to help. He's trying to keep me away from people that's not good in my life, which he was the worst one. He used to always sit in the parking lot when I was fixing hair with my sister. He'll be like sitting out at nighttime, like he the night watcher, security. I thought that was kind of like spooky, like I could call you on the phone while I'm about to go home, He didn't want me to speak to men.
Okay.
I talk to everybody.
So
I ain't trying to give it nobody.
Kind of controlling, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Were you married to him at this time?
I was never married to him.
Okay, you never married him.
But he used to call me his wife, though. Everybody thought we was married, but we were not. He did not want me to eat from no one. he wanted to bring me the food or take me to go get food. So I think he was putting something in my food. Because he didn't want me to eat from nobody. I had to eat like trail mix or whatever, the snacks and stuff until he come.
How long did this go on?
Oh, Lord. Until I went with him. I started living with him that January. And, you know, he was very nice. He did all kind of things for me. Paid all my debts off. You know, that was, you know, something different. But I paid for that at the end before it was over with.
Tell us about when you say you paid for it.
Oh, Lord. I went through physical, emotional, and spiritually the abuse. Physical, I have a lot of injuries. I had my nose fractured. I had both my arms fractured. I have a cauliflower ear. I have cuts all over my lips from getting punched in the mouth. I have spots on my head. The hair not growing back unless the Lord wanted to. From getting hit in the head with guns, screwdriver handles, pipes, all kind of stuff. Teeth. Got some grills from that. Cut on my eyebrow. I had scars all over my body like a slave. A burn on my arm.
So you have been beaten over the years very severely, sounds like.
Oh yes, ma'am, with all kind of items, extension cords, bats, all kind of stuff.
And you brought a child into the relationship.
Yes, I had my son. He was 3 at the time, and I was 26 years old.
And then you had additional children by this particular man.
Yes, 2,
okay.
A daughter and a son.
How are those kids doing?
Oh, they're doing fabulous now.
Now, you were a stylist prior to getting involved with him.
Yes.
Now, we were talking before the podcast, and you were saying some things about your children and the impact that it had on them as far as schooling and what they saw.
Well, his children did not go to school at all. No daycare or anything. Didn't even stay at a relative's house overnight. Ever in their life until I left in 2018.
And how old were they then?
And they were 9 and 12 years old. They were placed in their right grade.
And at the time, what grade? They were 9 and 12, you said?
Yes.
So when they first went to school, they were 9 and 12. What grade is that?
I think 4th grade and
like
7th grade.
7? Okay.
And they were placed in their right grade, and they've been on the honor roll ever since.
Oh, wow.
No homeschool, because I was working like a slave, cutting grass, on top of the house, under the house, painting, driving truck and trailers, fire truck, school bus, dump truck.
So he was retired, but you were working.
Yeah, like
okay.
I was his personal slave.
And the kids would stay home with him? Is that what you're saying?
They'll stay home while we outside working. And my oldest used to work too.
I was going to ask about him. Okay. So your kids, they're in school now, and how are they? Are they still surviving? It sounds like they're just thriving. Actually, if they put in their right grade, never gone to preschool, elementary, and one went straight to middle school, one went straight to the 4th grade. How and they made the honor roll every year.
Yes.
Is somebody about to graduate?
That's God. It's amazing. My daughter is about to graduate, and she's also an artist. So, it's good. I'm gonna spend some money this year.
Well, I want to know how you were emotionally. Like, talk to us about. Did you think this was okay? Did you think you couldn't get out? What was going on?
It was a nightmare. It was a nightmare on Clark Street. It was like, I was like, how am I going to get out of here? I used to pray all the time. And I was like, Lord, help me get out of here. It was like a brainwashing or something. I don't know what. I can't even remember a lot of stuff because I had to survive in that kind of situation. And just seeing your children, my oldest one was affected tremendously physically. Being beat,
Okay.
waterboard. I had when they had it on the news, I was like, "What is waterboard?" You know, nobody treated him that way. I know he never got treated like that in his life. So I don't know what was wrong with him. It's the devil. It has to be. It's no way possible. You know, something wrong with you. Now, I don't want to talk about mental illness. I think we all have a couple of loose screws, you know, at some time in our life. But that was ridiculous.
Yeah.
He did not get treated like that as a child. I do remember him say that his mom and dad had divorced and they like kind of did something to him, but still, come on now, I was like, Lord, you know, you see better when you're out of the situation.
Yes, of course.
I am like I have used some of my cat lives. You know, I have been choked out, all kind of stuff that I'm like, Lord, I'm here. You know.
Praise God that you are still here, because just like Veronica said, she's supposed to be. She knows she's supposed to be gone, but the way you were treated, the way you were beat, with all types of tools, that you could easily have been gone too, Sandra. I'm glad that both of you. I just praise God for the two of you. I know there are still people out there. We hear this number, 5,000 here in the state. It's like here in our state, each year they said so multiple. You know, it's every year. This is annual. At what point? And I want to talk about probably later in the podcast after we come back from break. I want you to kind of think about at what point it's like I got to get out of here because your babies are watching. Your babies. It became how many years was it? Like
14.
14. So
years of slavery.
They are watching.
Oh yeah.
And of course, you think it's impacting them socially. It's impacting them emotionally. It's impacting. And this is daddy. That's mommy, right? At what point do you say we gotta go? Because all you're thinking is, I'm trying to survive, but how am I gonna get out of here? It's what it's what I hear you saying. Does he come back and always say, "I'm sorry" once he does that?
Oh yeah, he was what's that Lenny Kravitz or not Lenny Kravitz? What Lenny? The man who would be begging all the time with that song. Oh, whatever, you know.
Now I don't know
that old song and keep sweating, begging.
Oh,
yeah.
girl, I love you.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear that song no more. You saying you go ahead.
Like, baby, look, he could have made a song how he used to be on his knees and crying, and I'm like, hey, I need to give you 2 Oscars and a Globe. You doing the same thing. You get worse and worse. It would look like it's doing pretty good. Man, when the next one come, bam, it's worse than it was, at first.
You say you were working in the shop with your sister, I think you said you were? Mm-hmm. So where's family at this time? Are you telling them what's going on? What's happening?
Well, at the beginning, they could see, my sister could see the change because I wasn't speaking to me because I talked to everybody. And he had bought me a Bluetooth. So I wish I could remember now what in the world we was talking about all day. I had stopped talking to my customers and everything. I don't know what, he was like a bug in my ear. It was whatever it was going on. Oh, he did his thing because my life turned all the way around.
Veronica, you can probably, I don't even know what to ask. I'm just baffled. And so you guys can ask questions. You can talk. You can, the audience needs to hear because this is real.
It was isolation.
Yes.
Yeah. Isolation. My sister ended up putting me out the shop, because I was acting crazy, weird, and stuff. It was bad for business. So, so she put me out, and he wanted to make it like someone. See, she just jealous when I brought them flowers for Valentine's Day, and I'm like, cheap flowers, But
I think it's so interesting because as I'm listening to y'all, I'm not a therapist, So but as I'm listening to y'all, I'm like, wow, even going down to the just finite of what you experienced, it's the control, it's the manipulation of the mind, and causing you to isolate.
Yes.
And even like just going back, because for me, my story is I didn't have physical abuse, but I was emotionally abused by one of my partners before I met my husband. And even though like I can put in a perspective of it was so small, like you can make it, it can make it seem like it's so small until it gets to that point. And how I just believe that there are so many people that are in relationships where it starts with control.
Yes.
And just kind of, I like how y'all are making the big picture. It's not even that you look at that they put their hands on you. Look at the first piece. They manipulated your mind.
Yes.
So how
With
like
the
mental
man.
health plays a big part even in that.
It does.
Yeah.
It's just like when you talk about it, like spiritually, he used the Bible, and I think yours did too.
Yeah.
Use the Bible to control us because we had that spiritual background, and
Go ahead.
and so by him doing that, it made it extra hard.
Yeah. Well, this is it's a lot. It's heavy, but I know and I appreciate you all sharing and being open, because this, number one, it has to be hard. Has to be sometimes hard to talk about. But secondly, we know from number one, from a spiritual standpoint and from a mental health standpoint, it's the best thing to do is to process and get it off. Out of your mind, out of your head, in order to start the healing process. So this is a part of your healing. We are at our time for a 2-minute break that went by pretty fast. We'll be back in about 2 minutes, and we'll take it from there. We want to hear more. Thank you, ladies.
pastor of the Redwood Baptist Church, located at 20912 Macos Road here in Zachary. And on behalf of the Redwood family, I want to invite you to join us for worship this Sunday morning at 8 a.m. Redwood is a church where the love is felt, the praise is authentic, and faith is strengthened. So please come and be our guest. We're looking forward to seeing you. God bless.
I'm growing socially. I'm growing emotionally, and I'm growing mentally. I'm strengthening myself through having healthy relationships, finding healthy outlets that causes positive impacts in my life. Each individual life, in the life of our program, in the life of the individuals we serve. Hello and welcome back to the Breathe podcast. Today we are talking about a very serious subject, and that is building resilient families after going through domestic violence. We have Miss Veronica and Miss Sandra who are here with us talking about their personal stories, sharing their personal stories. And one of the things we want to go toward is the children in the family, because there were kids in the family. For you, Miss Sandra, Veronica, you had kids, but you had your baby sister, but you had children after the fact, and they are aware of what happened, which you share, because of your healing process. You were still healing through the process. How you had kids who witnessed this. So the ones who witnessed the domestic violence, did they? You feel that they're suffering mental health? Did they have to get counseling? Did they have to go and get support for their healing?
Well, we all went to counseling. They were released, but I think I'm gonna try to put them back in there, because to be like this Jerry Springer, I know it's children or children's siblings, but to me it's something still there.
Okay, you're seeing some signs of the effects
between the two older ones, because my oldest one was brought in that kind of situation, and my other two were born in it.
Okay,
it's a difference.
Tell us the difference.
To me, it's the difference because my oldest one did not have a choice.
Okay,
he went where I went. And the other two, they were born into, that's what they knew.
That's their dad.
Yes, their dad.
This is the oldest one's stepdad.
Mm-hmm.
And he's the one who was physically abused as well.
Yes.
Okay. Miss Veronica, what about your kids, your sister, the one you tried to protect? What about the mental effects on her and even your babies?
Well, I can say my sister, and I had 3 brothers.
Okay.
Most recently, my baby brother, that was the hardest impact. Because my baby brother at 36 had an aneurysm. We watched his life start going down. He used to play semi-pro football, and he had played football a long time. He was a pretty big fella. But because of him not seeking mental health services, and by him not acknowledging how the trauma that he witnessed impacted him, he just kept it inside. Because for so many with men, they define how strong it's supposed to be. Like you can't have feelings, like you can't be hurt, like you can't be angry. And so he was just kept saying, I'm fine. I'm fine.
Holding it all in.
And he died. He had an aneurysm and passed. And besides having like injuries from his football,
right?
He was mentally fine from the outside.
Yeah,
because they used to call him Big Teddy Bear.
Okay,
and it was like because he was huge and he would always have this big smile on his face, but on the inside he was dying. And so, like my other brothers and stuff like that, they all had their own challenges and stuff that they deal with because they're angry. This was the first time that they actually physically heard my father say these things. Yes, they read my book. And because I kept it from them. I didn't want them because they were huge.
They're growing up and
they know he was abusive because he abused them. They just didn't know about the sexual side.
Okay.
With the girls.
Okay. So they were not happy when they found out.
To say the least.
Yes.
But like with me seeing that, I'm grateful that I did do it that way. I wouldn't change it.
Good.
I wouldn't change it because it's like, to me, God knows who can handle what. And I did not want to see my brothers become incarcerated because of him and his decisions. To me, I wanted it to turn out the way that it did. He's incarcerated and not them.
And you suffered in silence, really.
I did, because the different preachers and stuff like that, when they would say, well, why you didn't say anything? When it came out, you didn't believe me. So why would I say anything?
How do you trust now those people who are those ministers, the pulpit? How do you?
I know that they're human. And I know that when you look at him, I know the way that he was very manipulative. And so when he talks a good game. So when I look at it as them being human and that them not subhuman and that they're above, I was like, well, I could have thought the same thing.
Yeah.
And then like a lot of them came and apologized and said, we're sorry that you had. But at that time, I still was angry. I'm thinking, I don't care if you're sorry or not. When I really needed you, you wasn't there. This is what I'm thinking.
Yes.
But then as I grew through my process,
Yes.
it's like, you know what? They're human.
Yes.
They bleed the same blood that I do. And people can make mistakes.
That's right.
And if God forgives, who am I?
Not you, huh? Well, here's a big question. Have you forgiven your father?
Ben.
Okay.
Ben. And it's like if he calls and needs support or whatever, of course, it's my husband, not me. But if he calls and needs support, we'll send it. Because I don't hate you. I know that your foundation came up from the trauma that you experienced. You chose to make a not so good choice. I'm choosing to be that generational curse breaker with my family. And that's when you was asking, when did you decide to change?
Yeah.
My children was my why. When I'm watching them watch me through the door and I see the little fingers coming through the door.
Yeah.
Because I would go to work, do what I have to do, direct choirs, come home. And on a Friday, if it wasn't a rehearsal night, I'm in the bed, curtains closed. I didn't want to eat. I didn't move till it was time to go to church on Sunday. Then I put on this fake big smile, like everything was fine because I was a praise leader. And then after church, I go right back to bed.
What was that called?
A fake praise leader. I was faking.
And what is it called when you just in bed and up and to go do what you have to do and come back and get under the covers again?
Oh, that's depression.
Yeah.
It was severe depression.
Yeah.
And so when I started watching them, I'm like, you said you didn't want to abuse them, but you are.
You are, by not.
And that's
good.
what
Yeah.
woke me up. I'm like, you're not putting your hands on them, but mental abuse, Veronica, think about how it's like that was worse to you than him hitting you.
Or neglecting.
Or
you know.
neglecting. And I thank God for my husband because he was the one that was taking care of everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
I have a question. Oh, I'm so sorry. I have a question. When it comes to, I want to go back a little bit. When it comes to your relationship with your brothers, how did it change when it came out? As far as like you also had being sexually abused, how did the relationship change?
The family
They became
dynamics divided.
to me. They became more protective. Now, like my baby brother at the time when the police officers came to pick him up, he was like, well, what about me? Because at that time he was about like 19 or 20. I said, you're gonna be fine. But he still was the youngest.
The police came for
My birth father to pick him up.
Oh, to pick up. Okay, I'm sorry.
And so like, and I was like, I said, you're gonna be fine. And he was fine. He wound up getting, but he still was concerned. He didn't know all this was going on.
Oh, okay.
And they just didn't know. They knew he was abusive. They knew he would yell, hit my mom and stuff like that. But they didn't know how in depth it was. They didn't know that I was being made to take care of them financially. They didn't know none of those things.
Was your mom around when they came to pick him up?
Yes, she was.
And her response?
I wasn't there.
Okay.
I don't know, but I can tell you the after response.
Okay.
Because we wound up getting her. Her mental health went down. She would go visit him, and he would slam on the bars like he was at home. And she was like, I remember her telling my husband, I'm not going back there ever again. Because all he keep asking me for is my child. He's never loved me. He just wants my child.
Talking about you?
He still did that. The letter he wrote after my brother passed. My husband read it, and I didn't know. I'm just watching his face, and I'm like,
Now, this is recent, right?
this is recent. It's been a year this March. In fact, my mom transitioned after not eating for about 3 or 4 months. She transitioned March 23rd, 2015. My baby brother started his transition March 28th, 2022. So it was almost close. I'm like, Tim, you couldn't have picked another date. Both of y'all have to be in March. So,
Talk to us, Miss Sandra.
Do you have any
deep-
siblings?
Yes, I have a sister, by my mother, and I have some other siblings from my dad. But I was raised with my sister down here, and that's the one I was working in the shop with.
Mm-hmm.
And I do recall after, stuff be so blocked in your brain after you have been through something. I do remember she came to the house, for to say she wanted to see me. And he told me to tell her that we were all right, that she could leave now. And you know how like you have an out of body experience. It's like you looking at your own self, even though you in your body. Like I could see myself, my face. She could see my face. Like I'm not telling the truth. It was hurtful for me to tell my sister to leave.
Yes.
And I was like,
How?
but I had to go back in hell when I shut the door.
At what point do you say, I'm not doing this anymore?
Well, I don't know exactly when. I tried to escape a few times. I say escape. The year before, June 3rd, yeah, he wouldn't let me forget. I did leave. I left because he had me outside, and he'll just put you outside. No phone, nothing. Just I'm like, I'm grown. I don't have no phone, nothing. He just had you sitting outside, and he say you can find something to do out here. So I had sat on the lawnmower, and we had a lot of cameras because I put them up out there, around the house and stuff. And I ended up leaving, climbed the fence, and I was gone. I hitchhiked, to the other side of town, but I left my children though.
Yeah.
Now, I ended up coming back. It wasn't even 24 hours. I ended up talking to my daughter, and it's like something like said, I got to go back for her because I don't want her to end up like me, what was happening. So I ended up going back, and there was a story. It was something. Came back, them children say, he is something crazy. He had us looking in ditches and going to all the hospitals, the stores, and everything around the community.
Looking for you.
Looking for me. All under the cars and, and all that. And I'm like, he say, I know nobody ain't take her. She's strong and everything. So nobody not going to just up and just take her like that. So I came back. He acted like he had lost his mind. He was like saying I was God and and I'm like, no, I'm not.
That you're God?
Yeah, I'm God. And he was so glad I'm back and I love you and all that stuff, so nice and stuff. Give it a little time. I don't know what was the first thing that happened, but it was full force.
It's like a switch. Sounds like a switch just turns on.
Oh. After one of those other times when I came back, I say, man, forget this. It's just like on that movie Get Out. When they dropped the teacup, it's like I woke up. I woke up and I was like, I'm getting out of here. Me and them children, I don't know if I got to shoot my way out or what.
And you did.
But we getting out of
got
here.
out. How did you get out that last time?
Baby, I say I count it all joy. I've had the journey. I was visualizing how I'm gonna do him. I was gonna do him.
Okay.
But all of a sudden, I just got sick. I started clotting. God said, "You ain't about to touch him. This is not your battle. He gonna do it." Now, I suffered for a couple of days, and I was barely could walk. And I was like, "Lord, help me get out of here." I was just thinking like, "Lord, just help me." You know, I didn't know how I was gonna get out of there, but I wanted to get out of there. You know, sometimes we stay in a situation too long. We work with stuff, we try to give so many chances and all that, and we just mess our own self up. So I say, I got to leave. I had to leave my children for to save my own self. I told him, I feel like I'm about to die. I got to get out of here. Just the younger two. My oldest one was next door. I couldn't talk to him. But I ended up leaving like a little slave out the back door. About 10:30 at night with a headlight. Who came was his mama. I called her. I ain't tell her why I wanted, why I wanted her. I said, I said, how long gonna take you to come get me? She said about 10 to 15 minutes. And say, everything all right? I said, yeah, everything gonna be all right. Because I was, she didn't know what I was doing. So I told her, go to the back gate, blink your lights. I'll see you on the camera. Do not call. I will call you. Because he was outside in the front, walking up and down the driveway, outside. So I kept looking at the camera, seeing her, I got a headlight. And, before that, I told my children, I said, it seems like I'm about to die. I said, I don't want to die here. I'd rather die somewhere else. I don't want to die in front of y'all. Y'all done seen so much already. I said, I'm going to come back and get y'all. I sent them next door. So, got the headlight, crept out the back door. That was the longest walk of my life. Because I was creeping. I barely could walk.
Yes.
It was from one street. The house was on one street, and the backyard ended on another street. So that was a long walk.
Yeah.
And I was like, Lord, help me get to the gate. I got to the gate. I said, help me get over the gate. Because, I was weak. I holding on like a little old lady. Got over that gate, and I got in that car, and I told her, go. Baby, she drive like a bat, So we was gone. I told her, I said, I'm never, ever going back to him. I said, he been fighting me and my son for years. I ain't going back. Come to find out, went to the hospital. They told me all the injuries. And they said, you got to get a blood transfusion. I said, oh, Lord. I said, okay. I say, oh, Lord. I ain't never tell them about no domestic violence. But, they
can
know.
see, yeah.
I did not say a name. It kept coming up in there, trying to get me to say a name. I didn't want to send the police there because it used to be the police. They had scanners. They know when they're coming. So I said, I'm not sending no police because he could kill all my children.
Right.
While I'm in the
hospital. So the police going for the police.
So I had got a transfusion and I prayed over that blood. It looked like Kool-Aid or something. I said, Lord, I don't care if it comes from a cat, dog, or a cow. I said, just heal me in the name of Jesus. So I had him going in both arms. My blood count was 2.6. It's supposed to be 12 to 14.
Yes.
So if I did not leave that day, I probably would have been gone.
Yes.
So God was saying, do you want to live or you going to die?
Yes.
I ain't want to leave my children, but I got out of there.
So when you left your children in the hospital, because now the medical physicians actually know what's going on because they see whether you're revealing or not. This is when it all comes to light. through this process. And so through this process, you're having to tell the story.
Not in the hospital.
Okay, but at some point you had to let them know what was going on. We have about 2 minutes.
I got a restraining order. I had to go get a restraint. Well, I end up getting a restraining order. So I was trying to come back and get them because I stayed in the hospital for 4 days. I stayed in a hotel for 2 weeks. His people paid for that. So I ended up getting the restraining order and to get my children back because I went before for the visit, and I'm like, these are my children. He acting like I couldn't visit, take my children. So I got the restraining order, so I had to get my children that day at 6 o'clock. I had no car, nothing, so I rented a car. Came to get the children, they was gone. I couldn't get my children that day, so I had to wait another day. Even though that was 28 days before I went and got them, I was trying to get myself straight because he knew I ain't had nowhere to stay. I had no job or nothing, so I had to get that straight first. But I just, he went to jail eventually.
Yes,
he's out now. But I say, God.
Did he stay in jail as long as you went through your violence?
No, he needed 10 more years.
Yeah. See, well, you have a book, Veronica. Can you? Because I know we only have a couple of minutes left. Can you tell us about your book so people can purchase that book?
Yes, it's called God's Diamond in the Rough. And it's by Veronica Pryor-Faciane. You can find it on various platforms and e-form. And it's on Barnes & Noble. It's also on Amazon. And I also sell them myself.
Okay, say it again. Diamonds?
God's Diamond in the Rough.
Okay, and tell how can they get in contact with you if they want a book? If
you want to get in contact with me, you can reach me through New ID Life Coaching 888@gmail.com. My social media platforms is New ID 888. That's on Facebook, Instagram. I'm still learning Twitter.
That's okay. There's ways to get in contact with you, though.
There's ways to get in contact, yes. And if you DM me, I can get it to you as well.
Okay, all right. Sandra, people will want to talk to you. I know they want more. They want to hear more.
Well, if you want to get more insight on this nightmare, you can go on WBRZ. And you can read a lot about it. And I'm on Facebook and on Instagram. Well, I'm basically more on Facebook every day. So if you want to contact me, you can message me and we can talk, baby.
Tell them how to get you on Facebook again.
Sandra Halley.
Okay, spell that for them.
SandraHalley. The lady with the workout clothes on. I have multiple pages. That's my page.
Sandra is Sandra and not Karen.
Yeah, no Karen. Now, you can. I talk to anybody. If I
because there may be young girls who want to know,
yes,
how do I cope with this? How do I get out of this? And so I want them to know that, you guys are so here to help.
I'm available.
And you said WBRZ, but what do they, when they go there, what do they look for?
Oh, well, they could just read more about my story because it's too long.
It's Sandra Haley.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Now, and another place, if you going through that situation or know anybody, it's the Family Justice Center.
Yes.
On Government Street. You can give them a call and they do counseling. It's a one-stop shop. Counseling. You get your restraining orders, custody, divorces, daily essentials, what else? And you can basically anything that you need.
There's a huge resource.
Yes.
Say the name of that place again.
The Family Justice Center.
Family Justice Center.
On Government Street.
And I know you are a very strong advocate for, is it the Butterfly?
The Butterfly Society.
Yeah, the Butterfly Society. There's a lot of resources. These ladies have been just absolutely wonderful. They're absolutely beautiful. Just dynamic, strong, empowered African-American women. We are so glad that you chose to just share your story on our platform today. God bless you. And I know someone is going to reach out to the two of you. So thank you again. Do you have any last words for our audience?
if someone happens to be going through that, the most important thing is to learn to love yourself. And I know there's a lot of people that say, but how do I do that? Just with saying no. Getting yourself, just love you, just with saying no. No, you're not going to hit me. No, you're not going to talk down to me. No, you're not going to degrade me. Just no.
No. Value yourself. Mm-hmm. Any last words for our audience? Anything you want to say? Encourage people?
Yes. It don't matter what they have financially. If you have children with them, or if you've been with them for years and years, it's not worth it. I was with him for 14 years, was not married. I can't get nothing. You heard me? Mm-hmm. He was taking my money and everything, and I done bought houses and everything with my money with him, and I can't get anything. Wow. So I had to start from scratch, and I say, when you make one step, God will do the rest for you. And do not be afraid. You know, you can have a life. You can enjoy your life. If you have children, you can do that. We survive for to help somebody.
Yes. Amen. Thank you, ladies. You're so adorable, and I'm so very thankful, so humble that you really chose to be with Courtney and I today to share your story. Pastor Dale, we absolutely miss you. You all have a wonderful, wonderful day. Amen. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for listening.
Thank you again for listening to the Breathe Podcast. Follow us on Facebook at Growth Services of LA so you never miss an episode, or if you want to hear it again. If you would like to learn more about what we do, visit our website at www.growthla.org or give us a call at 225-300-4943. Join us next time so you can alter the way you live your life, change the way you think, and better your health.